Hi everybody, welcome back. We had a few personal things to see to, and hence my videos seem to all appear a day after the fact lately. But whereas it bothered me before, it doesn't anymore, as I found it gave me a little time to think, to collect myself, and not to react over emotionally. My plan was to do a blow-by-blow commentary on Meghan Ragland's The Cut interview and her podcast with Mariah Carey, but I decided against it because so many people are actually doing it, and besides, for me, it is not old Meghan's exact words which is getting in my crop, but the reactions, or in some quarters, the lack thereof. For me, it is about right and wrong, fair and unfair, and all those things. Okay, her interview in The Cut was just weird and strange, with her narcissism hanging over the entire interview like a foul smelling gas cloud. Yuck. Anyway, a short overview of the Cut interview and what stood out to me is what I will bring you now. Firstly, Meghan's manipulative tactics, which, by the way, is so transparent that only someone deaf, dumb, and blind cannot see it. She tries to compliment the writer or journalist in an effort to get them on her side from the get-go. For instance, she tells Alison Davis, "Your eye contact is good. You're like looking into my soul." Firstly, would a real journalist care what the person they are interviewing think of them? I don't think so. You are there to do a job and interview them. Meghan, of course, does this all the time, forgetting that these journalists are in fact complete strangers and that these kind of personal remarks and compliments leave them rather uncomfortable instead of comfortable as she intended. Meghan did the same thing with, I think it was Sam Cashner during her Vanity Fair interview. Meghan went in strong and laid it on thick, telling him he's not a typical journalist and that she liked him because of his stammer. Really? Now, of course, we are not flies on their walls, and no one knows what Meghan and Harry really talk about behind closed doors. But Meghan has this habit of turning every story about her and Harry into a Mills and Boon romance novel with a hint of word salad to spice it up a little more. And she does this again by telling the story about the two palm trees in their yard, which Harry likened to the two of them, and which Archie now calls Mama and Papa. There are two things we learn about Meghan from this. Firstly, that she cannot differentiate between private and public, that she does not know where to draw the line. Nobody, no matter how woke or how liberal, wants to hear about other people's bedroom talk or, for that matter, their toilet habits. It just is what it is. We can read a racy novel, but I'm yet to come across anyone who feels comfortable listening to someone recalling their love talks or their bedroom talks with their partner. Secondly, it is very indicative of Meghan's mental health. The fantasy she spun, this fairy tale she is living, which largely only exists in her head, but which she obviously believes, so much so that she feels comfortable telling it as truth, her truth, which is obviously often very far removed from the real truth. Then, of course, she now admits to the reality show or docu-series they are currently filming for Netflix. Just a quick ha-ha. I was right once again, or at least the subscriber who told me was indeed speaking the truth. Remember, I told you it was not going to be a Kardashian style reality show, but more like a documentary in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, episodes. Well, of course, that is what it now transpires to be, except that the narcissistic Meghan Ragland prefers to call it a historical documentary, a piece of her life and their love story. Gag, sick, nauseating. Does she even know what historic or history means? What history does Meghan have? What has she done? She may be the first royal who made a couple of pornographic shorts and home movies currently being sold on the black market, the first royal to have been a yacht girl, the first royal who was an escort come caddy, okay, on a golf course. But does that make her a suitable candidate for a historical documentary? Or would her story be more suitable for a soap opera or drama? Another very bad habit Meghan has, or rather a tactic she regularly uses, is to deflect. There are many ways to deflect, but Meghan Markle, or Meghan Ragland, excuse me, uses them all. She is particularly fond of two things: rhetorical questions, or even answering a question with a question. And then, of course, the word salad. Word salad is nothing more than saying something without saying anything. Politicians and cult leaders are very adept at using word salad. And I think Meghan sees herself as both a politician and cult leader. And I think if you read the piece in the cut carefully, you will come to the very same conclusion. As a matter of fact, we don't even have to read it that carefully because she actually tells us so. In this interview, she tells another story of how a cast member of Lion King pulled her aside and told her how South Africans rejoiced in the streets when the Harkles got married, just like we did when Nelson Mandela was freed. Now, my friends, I'm not going to pussyfoot around this at all. This is utter bullshit. In a minute, I will tell you a little about Nelson Mandela's release and how it was celebrated here in South Africa. But first, this shows exactly how delusional she is and that she aligns herself with the most famous, the biggest, the best. No one's success and no one's suffering is bigger than Meghan Ragland's. Not even Nelson Mandela's. Forget about him spending 27 years in jail. That suffering cannot possibly compare to Meghan Ragland, Duchess of Sussex, Princess of the United Kingdom's suffering. Now, guys, this is beyond sick. Again, I did my due diligence and I did my homework. The South African she is talking about is actually Lebo M, or then Lebohang Murake, a South African producer and composer, a man with an office in Johannesburg and who is exactly, and this is just a tidbit, a year younger than me. Okay? Both of us are Cancerians. But that is just a little tidbit. Okay? Doesn't mean anything. Now, anyway, Lebo worked on the soundtrack of Lion King and was also responsible for some of the vocals. Now, I do not know him personally at all. I have never met him, but I am South African. I read South African publications and newspapers and have indeed read about him in local magazines and newspapers. I also did my due diligence and sent him an email inquiry with regard to the alleged statement. Well, to date, no reply, but he is a busy man. However, I know a bit about who he is and who his friends are and where his loyalties lie. And I'm prepared to place a bet that he did not compare Mr. Mandela's freedom to Harry and Meghan's wedding. And on the off chance that he did, and I mean really off chance, like 1% chance that he did, then he too is a liar. Mr. Mandela was officially released on the 11th of February 1990, and thousands of people all over the country gathered to celebrate and watch. People from all races and cultures gathered and waited outside the Victor Verster prison in Paarl. Foreign dignitaries arrived in Cape Town along with ANC supporters waving the ANC flag in front of the police cordon. Journalists and photographers arrived from all over the world, some in such a hurry to see Mr. Mandela that they lined up along the fence of the prison to get pictures of him before he left prison. Praise singers lined up and welcomed him with traditional praises. From there, Mr. Mandela travelled to his home in Soweto, Johannesburg, where he addressed the waiting crowd. Later, he even addressed an even bigger crowd at a stadium in Soweto. I can emphatically tell you that none of this happened here in South Africa during Harry and Meghan's wedding in 2018. Yes, those of us so inclined watched it on television and may have bought one of the many magazines featuring photographs from their wedding. Maybe there were a few officers or even households who used the wedding as an excuse to have a party. Who knows? I don't personally know of any. But no way did people fill stadiums, rode on the back of trucks waving flags, or danced in the streets during the Harcourt's wedding like they did when Mandela got released. No way. And you are welcome to search the internet and publications for proof that I am wrong. You won't find anything. Now, I also sent Mandla Mandela and the Mandela Foundation screenshots of the article and Meghan's comment, and I'm grateful that Mandla actually spoke out. Previously, Mandla spoke about Harry's UN speech, and at the time, he was very courteous and refrained from being nasty or too bold. However, this time, and quite rightly so, he was much bolder, talking to the Mail Online. Mandla told the Mail Online that he was surprised by the comment and that Madiba's celebration was based on overcoming 350 years of colonialism, please note, with 60 years of brutal apartheid, and that it cannot be equated as the same as the Harkle's wedding. And I fully agree with him. He added that the 1990 South African celebrations for Mandela were for a far more serious reason than Meghan's marriage to a white prince. Now, like me, can you hear the difference between his first narrative about Harry's speech and his narrative now about what Meghan said? Well, if you can't, then you don't know the South African people very well, because I can detect a sense of irritation and irritability in what he told the Mail online. Okay, guys, so this brings me to my final conclusion in this video. I'm reading things like Markle follies aren't worth the paper they are printed on, etc. I am told that that is the conclusion the palace has come to after a meeting on the subject of Meghan's so-called bombshells. Well, that makes me even more angry than what she actually said. So, what the palace, the monarchy, or Charles is telling me as South African, as a citizen of a Commonwealth country, is that it is okay with them that a member of their family, a member of the monarchy, someone who uses her royal titles at every opportunity, can slight and diminish and be disrespectful towards my country and our history and our icons. And what does that tell us? It tells us that the monarchy and Charles in particular, because he is already in charge. Okay? Anyway, that Charles in particular, despite his wokeness, still sees my country and its people as less than and inferior to their highnesses. Now, to be fair, I am told that William is fuming and that he does not agree with his father. I am told that William would petition Parliament today to remove Harry from the line of succession and to have the titles removed, but that he is being vetoed by his father and his father's senior aides and advisors. Now, in my opinion, again, allowing Meghan to continue this delusional narrative while using her titles, while still being described as a working royal on their website, is nothing more and nothing less than disrespecting the people of the Commonwealth and Britain. I find it hard to understand why the monarchy and senior advisors cannot see and understand that at some point the public will have no choice but to think that Prince Charles and his advisors are equally responsible for these horrendous remarks. And yes, I'm not stupid. So, although not responsible for the actual remarks coming out of her mouth, but either supporting it or enabling Meghan to make them as a member of the royal family and monarchy. Already, the situation between the royal family and the Harkles have influenced and caused increased negativity towards the royal family and monarchy in countries like Australia and now South Africa. But now it is even teetering on the brink of causing a serious break in diplomatic relations. Can't they see that? Or are they so blinded by their own superiority and importance that they can't see it or comprehend it? And what about the British Parliament? The business of the country is indeed their business. Hopefully, the new Prime Minister will realize the danger Meghan Ragland's comments actually pose to the royal family and the country, and that he or she will take it much more seriously. Besides, as far as the royal family is concerned, the Harkles will keep doing what they are doing and wounding the royals as long as the family allows them to. Can't they see that? How can they not? In my opinion, it is also highly unfair to the Queen's legacy. And I personally find it very weak and very disrespectful to the Queen for Charles not to see it like that. And very weak of him not to take a stronger stance on it. Yeah, okay, guys, I have run out of time, so instead, I will stop the video right here and I will be back tomorrow with some more. Okay, so until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.